Now I share it. Is it possible visible to everybody?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now it is visible, sir.
Okay, I go first. Slide. So now it is visible. Slides of full screen visible. Participant?
Yeah, screen is visible, sir. But kindly adjust your voice, sir. Some echo is there.
Voice, is it not? It is not coming.
No, no.
Now it's
It
clear.
is coming. It is coming, sir. But some echo is there, sir. Light background echo is there.
Some kind of noise is there. I also, I think in my side there is no noise. Is it okay to everybody? Participant?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. It's okay, sir. Clear, sir.
So you can see the slide also. Okay. Can I assume that most of the participants are from engineering background? Is it true?
Yes, sir. Most of the participants are from technical education. They are from pharmacy, engineering, and management.
Management. So I am assuming because my background is in engineering, so whatever the example I will show must be come from engineering side. So sorry for that because I am a signal processing engineer, but I'm working in pedagogy and teaching learning and assessment and evaluation from 2010, and we have already you can say that developed a portal called pedagogy project that was under immediately. So we developed a portal called outcome-based curriculum development. So I am fond, I just given several lectures on outcome-based education, assessment and evaluation, all those things. So today I'll just give you some perspective of that only. Okay. So now the session will be interactive. You can interact with me in the online because unless it will be like that I am sitting in front of the computer and people are listening. So instead of that, we make it interactive. Okay. So maybe many of us maybe listen to this kind of lecture, my lecture also in recent past, but still now I think I will try to make it a different perspective, which is called assessment and evaluation. I cannot write anything on the screen because my laptop is laptop I cannot open it, right? So I'm working from a desktop PC. So I cannot write the touch screen monitor. I cannot use, so I cannot write it there. So maybe something is required to write. I'll just explain in voice. You have to assume it. Okay. So now let's go. Is it visible? Okay. So the issue related with the 21st century education, since all of us are the teachers, that what a problem we are facing in 21st century education system. The main challenges to the teacher is how to improve the student engagement. If you really think the engagement of the students in any discipline, whether it is pharmacy, whether it is management, whether it is common general education, whether it is engineering education, engagement is very low. It is a true problem. Most of the students, even 90% of the students can think that if they study 7 days, I'm assuming the most of them are said 1 or 2 days. I'm saying 7 days before the exam is sufficient to clear the exam. Whether it is university exam, whether it is college exam, doesn't matter. So all of the students, if you interact, they said, okay, sir, 7 days before the semester we study. Then it is the students said that 7 days before the semester, if we study, we can clear the examination. Then in case of engineering education, if there is 8 semester for BTech degree, then why we require a 4 year? We can simply 8 into 7, 56 days sufficient for BTech degree. So why we require a 4 year? That is the one thing we as a teacher we have to already there in back of mind we are thinking that what we are doing. So as a teacher, what should I do to increase the student engagement? Most of the cases, teachers are complaining that the students are not coming in the class. Management and saying, yes, attendance is mandatory. If the 75% attendance is not there, you will not allow to sit in the exam. What we are doing? Is it we are education system or it is a kind of a we are doing some rules and regulations. So education will come, you can see that from give and take policy. Even taker is not taking that education, then what is the use of all kinds of rule? If you ask the students that why you are not attending the class, the students can be very simple. So give me 2 reasons why should I attend the class. The information which will deliver by the teacher in the class is already available in the Google. The PPT which will be present in the class, you may be prepared the PPT from the internet, and that same PPT is available in the internet. So why should a student, why as a teacher, why will you expect the students will come to your class? So as a 21st century teacher, what should I do? So the students will come to my class. Students will engage throughout the semesters. The main objection from the students is coming is that if I ask them why you are not studying in the hostels, I have done a survey also. We found out that if we ask the questions why you are not studying in the hostels or home before come to the class, the student's answer is very simple. Sir, unless I attend the class, I do not know what topic teacher will cover in the next class. So what should I read in the home? And once I attend the class, I found teacher is delivering information which is available in the book or available in the Google. So I thought, okay, it will be clear during the examination. So the student engagement is gone. So as a teacher, what should I do to improve the student engagement? So that is one of the biggest challenge for the 21st century teachers. And how to equip students with 21st century knowledge, skill, and attitude. Only knowing Schrodinger equation today is not sufficient. If I say ask somebody to state the Maxwell equation, state the Maxwell law, it is not sufficient. As a teacher, I have to develop what they will use in Maxwell equation. Why they study Maxwell equation? Most of the cases, our education system is like this. Which one you want? First part or second part? Students, participant, which education you like? First part or second part? Interact. Unless interact, it will be like a. You can interact. You can unmute your mic. You can interact. Doesn't matter. Or you can write in the chat box also. I'm opening in the chat box also. Anybody? Anybody?
Good morning, sir. This is Shairi Chatterjee.
Yes.
Sir, in the first part
Which
of
one?
the diagram, sir, second part, because in the first part, education seems to be a burden for the students. But in the second part, it seems that the students are interested and they are enthusiastic.
So if you see, since you are a Chatterjee, you know the Tagore. So what Tagore long back says, that we are carrying education. Education is not carrying us.
Yes,
we
sir.
make a syllabus. Oh no, this should you know. This should you know. If you go to the any school or any colleges, oh, everybody learn. This is the question. This is the answer. This is the question. This is the answer. And they just remember those questions and give the exam and everything forward.
Right,
And
sir.
such parents are waiting outside the school, and they are, once the students is come out from the exam hall, oh, you have to down this answer. Oh, this is the real time I tell you. Is this education? So many books. No, this theory students must know. Why? As a teacher, can I explain why I have to learn Schrodinger equation if I from electronics background? As a teacher, can you explain why I have more than Newton's second law of motion? Why we study English? Why we study a poem, poetry, poem? Why we study it? Why we study history? What skill I develop? That is important. So education is not only the information, delivering information in the class, which is called knowledge. Knowledge is not wisdom. This knowledge is remembering facts and figures. That's why when you go to the 4th year, the student says, sir, I forgot the first year subject. Even they cannot tell the name of the first year subject because they have only studied for clear the exam. They only carry the information up to exam hall, and after that they forgot everything. So as a teacher, can I say that what should I do to make the education is not that only you can say that knowledge, distribution of information. It should be development of the skill and attitude of the students. Positive attitude. They should be able to solve. They should be able to check challenges. No, this question you do not give in that paper, so the students will fail. Most of the students will not able to answer. No, that is completely wrong. Give a challenging questions to the students so that they can think on it. Success is not what marks you obtained in a class. Success is what you are able to do. So how do I do that? As a teacher, what should I do that for development of the skill? Instead of that, okay, you have to remember Schrodinger equation, you have to remember Maxwell equation, you have to remember those equations. Why? Next question is how to allow continuous improvement in the curriculum. If you say today, everybody, okay, we have model curricula. Can you say that if a university copy a MIT syllabus, that university becomes MIT? Suppose your college is copied that IIT syllabus, is that college becomes IIT? No, we have a curriculum committee. So what you have done, you have opened that Oxford site, copied some, copy paste some topic name and pasted it in your syllabus. It's syllabus. So how do you design the syllabus? How do you continuously improve the curriculum? It is not that every 5 years you design the syllabus. You have to design the syllabus every year, every semester. Because this semester, whatever you taught, it has to be upgraded in the next semester. So how do you continuously improve the curriculum? Only copying the syllabus list of topic doesn't help you. No more. Open educational resources. There is lot of educational resources available. NPTEL, MIT, OpenAir, Khan Academy. But how you use that in your curriculum? Think about what is curricula. Curricula is nothing but a prescription of the medicine. Think about. There is a lot of antibiotic available in the markets. And you know, suppose you have a throat problem, you know, okay, if I take the azithromycin, search in Google, Google says take azithromycin, your throat problem will be gone away. But still you have to need to visit the doctor because Google doesn't know what is the level of your infection and what kind of dose is required. That is a job of the teachers. If you search analog electronics in the Google, number of pages, number of video lectures will come. But how much analog electronics is appropriate for your college for BTech electronics, that Google doesn't know. That is only known by the teacher who teaches the course subject. So the teacher has to design the curricula such a way what is the requirement of the students. Not the students have to pass the exam. Oh, this is followed by the Oxford, so I should follow this. You have to think on what you want to do. So that is one of the challenges. Next challenge is how to ensure that examination system reinforce the teaching learning. If I ask you, this is my topic, today's topic, that why we take exam? Anybody? What is the purpose for examination? Anybody? Unmute your mic.
Sir, to check the knowledge gained by the person.
Okay,
Assessments
some
for
student
purpose of assessment.
correlate with your since that. Suppose doctor prescribe you examine your blood sugar. You go to the laboratory and you find out your blood sugar is 430. Is it end? What next step? Next step is to you have to show the result to the doctor. Doctor prescribe the medicine. You have to take the medicine. Up to that is the closed loop. So you take an exam, students got 30 out of 100. Is it end? Oh, you got 30. You are a bad student. Is it an education system? So purpose for examination is not to provide marks to the students. Purpose for examination is to reinforce the teaching and learning. How do you reinforce the teaching and learning? It is not that you provide marks to the students and students, okay, I got 30, oh, I got 80. Doesn't matter. What reinforcement of the learning system you have done? A students got X marks in that, you can say in the exam. Are you think his knowledge in the level and skill is in the level of X? If it is not, then why you take the exam? I'll come in details on the examination system because that is my topic today. Then most of the teachers say that, okay, how to ensure lifelong learning? That means as a teacher, I have to develop the capability, skill set to self-learning ability. As a teacher, I cannot teach or I cannot guide the students to learn everything. So I have to develop a skill students such that they can learn by themselves. So what do you do on that? Then how to teach a large class? Today, this is the biggest problem. Large classroom teaching. So what is the teacher-student ratio for best teaching? Anybody? What is the teacher-student ratio for best teaching?
30:1.
If I told you why, justify why 30:1, explain. Objectively justify why 30:1 is the best teacher-student ratio. Why not 10:1? Why not 20:1? Why not 100:1?
And normally a lecture is for 60 minutes, so at least 2 minutes are devoted for a student.
No, from learning theory perspective, you have already learned so many lectures, learning theory. So objectively, you verify that you said 30:1. So you have to establish experimentally that yes, 30:1 is the best teaching. Think about what learning theory is. I have not studied the learning theory, but I have just acquired that skill on the learning theory by studying self-studying material. What learning theory said? Best teaching happened when the delivery of the instruction, the instructional delivery of the instruction, is matches with learner requirement. In learning theory, what is said? Every learner has its own learning style and learning approaches. Somebody says some learner may have a visual learner, somebody has a text learner, somebody has a audio learner, somebody has a global learner, somebody has a achiever. So different learning style and learning approaches there, and every learner has its own learning style and learning approaches, and that also is a function of time, mood of the learner, topic of learning, many things. Now, what learning theory says, the best teaching happens when the instruction matches with learning style and learning approaches. So, if it has to match, then the best teaching happens when teacher-student ratio is 1:1. That means every time the teacher can modify his delivery based on students' requirement. So the best teaching happens when you can say that you can create 1:1 teacher-student ratio. But that is impossible in the education field. So what we can do, as in using technology, using pedagogy, using whatever that means, can we virtually create 1:1 teacher-student ratio in the classroom? Can you do that? That is education technology. What technology, what kind of technological intervention, whether it is ICT based, it is non-ICT based, it is blended learning, it is flipped teaching, whatever, can I create virtually 1:1 teacher-student ratio? Can you create that? That is education technology. That is the your FDP, faculty development program. Or this faculty development program should be able to answer this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions. How to improve student engagement, how to develop the skill, continuously improvement of the curricula, what should be the assessment system such that it reinforces the teaching and learning, how to develop the lifelong learning ability, and how to teach a large classroom. That means how I can create virtually 1:1 teacher-student ratio. Are you agree with this? Participant, are you agree with this?
Yes, sir.
Anybody has any confusion that okay, this thing is not required, or this thing is I have a certain idea. Now the challenges is that what is the solution? This is the questions I raise. What is the solution? Engagement, skill development, continuous improvement, lifelong learning, large classroom assessment. So today I only discuss about the solution on how to ensure assessment system to reinforce teaching and learning. That I'll discuss today elaborately, and others I just touched. Okay. So as for the learning theory, the learning objective, that means learning outcome, not learning objective is not that there is a notion that there is objective and outcome. All of you know, I think so. No? Is it not? Sorry. Slide is delayed. It is delayed. What is the difference between the learning objective and learning outcome?
The
Anybody?
objective is with what perspective you are going to learn, whether it is for a good job or whether it is for your lifestyle or whether it is for your just for degree, and outcome is whatever you are gaining from that. It may be different, it may be same.
It may be different, it may be same. So actually, and if you see, I don't know why the slide is so delayed. It is now it is coming. So it is actually when you write when you write your learning target, learning objective means learning goal, using instructional system design principle, that's become outcome. So learning objective and learning outcome is the same things when it is written using ISD principle, instructional system design principle. So that's why learning objective and learning outcome is same thing. But most of you have heard about the NBA document, there is a learning objective and learning outcome. So their learning objective, they said it is the teacher's outcome. So learning objective in NBA document is called teacher's outcome, and learning outcome is the student's outcome. But here, basically in theory, Learning objective, learning outcomes are same things if it is written using ISD principle. So that's why I am written learning objective instead of outcome. Is it clear? So in a teaching learning scenario, outcome, material, assessment must be matched to each other. Outcome, material, and assessment must be matched with each other. Outcome is the target, material by which path by which you develop the target, and assessment is the procedure to test whether you have reached the targets or not. This should be in a triangle manner, and everybody is linked with everybody. It is not isolated. Online education, people are saying hybrid, blended learning, flip teaching. If I told you what is flip teaching, the common answer is no. Teacher, instead of teacher, students will teach. What student will teach? So it is not the definition of the flip teaching is important. Can you say how do you implement flip teaching in classroom? That is important. How do you implement it? How do you practice it? Okay, you come to the class and make interaction with the students. Is it flip teaching? What interaction? So everything has to be defined very carefully and it has to be implemented in the classroom. Blended learning. Today people are talking blended learning. But how do you implement it in the classroom? What is required for blended learning implementation? That is important, not the theory part of blended learning. Everybody knows blended learning means it is a blending of online and offline. So how do you blend it? What is the ratio? And what to blend? Everything is important. So I'm not going details on it. Outcome-based learning, all of you know that outcome-based learning can be explained using the philosophy of this picture. I think slide is very slow. It is coming slow. So it is not yet come in the current slide. So I am in the slide. Are you able to see the picture? Picture of a book cover. No, I think so.
It's Alice in the Wonderland.
Alice in the Wonderland. What is the philosophy of this picture? Anybody? That is the philosophy of outcome-based learning. Alice in the Wonderland. What is the philosophy of the picture? Anybody?
If you do not have any objective, then you can learn anything and you will be able to get something.
No. The philosophy is that a girl standing in the junction of path and he asks the cat which path he should take. Cat replied, where you want to go? Girl said, I do not know. Then cat said, take any path, doesn't matter. It means unless you know what you want to do, how do you define which path you want to take? It is not that I'm not denying that if you read a storybook, you will learn something. But that learning and traditional learning, classroom learning, or okay, so I come for the definition of the what is education system is developed. What is the need of education system? If we thought that everybody can read anything, but they will learn, then why this education system is developed? The purpose is very simple. In a society, we require a different kind of skilled manpower. Skilled manpower. Skilled manpower means I have to generate skilled manpower for the betterment of the society. Okay, so skilled manpower I have generated. So somebody will make material, somebody will make medicine, somebody will stitch cloth, somebody will build road. So different skill require different kind of skilled manpower. So purpose of the formal education system is to create those skilled labor, nothing else. Now you may say, okay, I am studying in electronics And I am very intellectual because I write a story book and that was very famous. You may write a storybook which is very famous, you are educated, you are okay, but you are failed to learn electronics. So I cannot certify you as an electronics graduate. So there is the difference between learning anything and learning particular thing. When a plumber comes to your house, a plumber said, sir, I have read that novel. I know this thing, I know this thing. But if he doesn't know how to install a tap on the water line, can you recognize that person is a plumber? Certainly not. That means when I say education system, it must produce skilled labor for that specific purpose which I develop.
19 DNSOP 19. This one,
So that is the purpose. There is a cost talk. Somebody. So education system, the role here is very simple. As a teacher, you have a two roles. First role, can you mute your mic? Somebody, there is a cost talk. Role of the teacher has two things. One is define the target. Second is guide and mentor the students to reach the target. A teacher cannot say, I teach you. I can only say, I guide, motivate, mentor you to reach the goal. I cannot say, I'll teach you. That's why the definition must be very good. If I use term guru, none of the gurus said you that I'll take you to the goal. Oh, there is a cross talk. Please mute your mic. Please mute your mic. There is a cross talk.
Converting mundare పెట్టాను సార్.
Oh. So role of the teacher is to guide and mentor the students. So I can say it is like a guru. So that none of the gurus said you that I'll take you to the God. Everybody says that I'll show you the path to reach the God. So I cannot say I'll teach you. I only say I'll guide and mentor you to reach the goal. That is the role of the teacher. And also what to learn, what to go has to be defined by the teachers. Student doesn't know where to go. So as a responsible citizen, as a teachers or as a systems, so teachers will define the targets based on the system requirement. Suppose today I said I require 80,000 software engineer. The requirement will come from the society. The education system has to produce 60,000 software skilled trained people. That is the purpose for education system. So as a teacher, I have to define the goal based on the requirement and I have to guide and mentor the students to reach the goal. That is outcome-based education. So in outcome-based education, we said learning is learner responsibility, not teacher responsibility. If a learner do not want to learn, there doesn't have any teacher to learn. Only teacher can motivate the students. Motivation is one of the important issues. You have to motivate the students. Many teachers said that, sir, my class, nobody want to come. It is not that you cannot say that we do not have any fault. Unless you are able to motivate the students will not come to your class. Many there is a guru. You can say that you said that Many guru has a millions of disciples, and some guru has only 1 or 2 disciples. Why? Because the guru who can motivate, they have more disciples. The guru who is not able to motivate has a single disciple only. So as a teacher, you have to motivate the students, you have to guide and mentor the students. So that is outcome-based education. You can, many of you have a accustomed with outcome-based curriculum development. I'm not going details on it, and that there is a technology. In my lecture, you can go to that YouTube. There is a lecture where I have shown how this outcome-based curricula can be used for blended teaching, flipped teaching, to solve or to answer the questions which I raised in the first slide. Accept the question, which is assessment and evaluation. So now I come to my original requirement of the lectures, which is called assessment and evaluation. So what I said the purpose of this examination is not to provide marks to the students. Purpose is reinforce the teaching and learning. So now if I ask you what is assessment and what is evaluation, anybody? Unmute your mic and tell me what is assessment and what is evaluation. Since the name are not there, I can ask why A1, A2 is there. So there is how many participants are there? Any participant? Can you give the answer? What is assessment and what is evaluation? If you're wrong, doesn't matter. What is assessment and what is evaluation?
I think in case of assessment, it is for the throughout semester or throughout year, the performance may be on the level of the queries asked in the class by the teacher or by the student, in fact. So an assessment may be done on the basis of the knowledge of the student. And in case of evaluation, it may be on the test basis or something like that, maybe.
So in your opinion, you can say the class test, quiz, all are assessment. But if I say semester exam is an evaluation.
Yeah, my perception is this.
Okay. Anybody else has any other perception? The two term is different, assessment and evaluation.
Excuse me, sir.
Assessment, yes.
Sir, assessment may be on the part of from the student side. They give the assessment, and evaluation is from the teacher side. They evaluate the students. So this is my perception. I'm Dr. Meenakshi Rathi.
Okay. So that you are saying assessment is student side and evaluation is teacher side. So in that case also you are saying when you provide the marks, that is evaluation, and the student side means when it is they take a test, they solve an assignment, all assessment. Is it okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is my
Okay.
personal.
Now I will come to my opinion. So as per the theory, the assessment is a procedure to collect evidence about students' competence. So assessment is a procedure to collect evidence about students' competence. So any exam, whether it is a class test, whether it is a lab viva, whether it is a lab report, whether it is a seminar, whether it is a end semester, whether it is a mid semester, external, internal, whatever the process, all are assessment. So assessment is a procedure to collect evidence about students' competence. Then what is evaluation? Based on collected evidence, when you quantify the student's competence, that is called evaluation. So all tests you have done, based on that test, when you say this learner has an 80% competence, then I can say this is evaluation. So assessment is the procedure, evaluation is the end. So by assessment, you collect evidence, and based on the evidence, when you quantify, when you can say put a mark, you got EX grade. So this is quantify the student's competence is called evaluation. Is it clear? Anybody has any counter attack, or you can have any other opinion? Can you justify? Is it okay, or you have other opinion? Are you agree with this definition of assessment and evaluation?
It's not clear to me.
I'm saying that assessment is a process for collecting evidence about students' competence. So you take the assessment in a class test, in a lab viva, in a semester exam, all those processes. So all the examination are called assessment. So by the examination, you collecting evidence about students' competence, whether the students are able to do that or not. That is called competence. Now, once you collected all competence are not equal weightage. So you can make a system by which you can quantify the student's competence. Once you quantify it, that process is called evaluation. So seminar is an assessment. But when you say you got 75% marks in the seminar, that is evaluation. So in what basis you have decided 70% based on collected evidence? So what evidence you collected? You may say seminar contain 100 marks, 10 marks on presentation, 10 marks on slide, 10 marks on communication skill, 10 marks on question answering, 10 marks on report. So you all matrix so the evaluation matrix is defined. Based on evaluation matrix, you quantify the student's competence. That's why it is called evaluation. That's why we call evaluation matrix, not assessment matrix. Clear? And again, I'll show you other. There is a lot of things are there. I'll show you. So now this diagram, is it visible? Okay. So in this diagram, if you say I'm not going the curriculum development that phase. I said that phase you know. So now you are teaching a course, let's say analog electronics or digital signal processing. My course is digital signal processing. So as you know, every course must have course outcome which the students has to achieve. Okay. So I have a 6 course outcome. 6 course outcome we have written. Student will able to do this, do this, do this, do this. So that way 6 outcome is there. So they will able to design a fire filter. They will able to design algorithm for computing DFT. So all kinds of outcome we have written down. Now I am putting in assessment and evaluation perspective on it. So now let's go for assessment for evaluation. That I take the assessment based on which I can quantify the student's competence. So in that assessment, what proceed? You know the assessment two types. One is called criteria based, one is called norm reference. Since my course outcome is already defined, So my assessment is criteria based. So the question which I designed to evaluate the student. So assessment for evaluation. I'm not going to assessment for teaching and learning. I'm saying assessment for evaluation based on which I quantify the student's competence must be criteria based. So I can say, okay, out of 6 outcome, I take the assessment, let's say 2 or 3 assessment, whatever, mid semester or end semester. The main purpose is to check whether they have achieved these 6 criteria or not. So suppose after you take the assessment and after you check the assessment competence level, you found the student number 1 has not achieved the outcome number 3. So he achieved all 5 outcomes instead of outcome number 3. Now what is his competence? If I say all outcomes are equal weightage, or you can distribute the weightage different, you can say the first outcome is the preliminary outcome, so it has a weightage 10. But last outcome has a design problem, it has a weightage 20. Or you can say all 6 outcome has an equal weightage. So what is the competence of the students? So out of 6, he only able to achieve 5. So what should be his competence? If all are equal weightage, 5 by 6 into 100. It is not that, okay, this semester you have to design the question paper such a way 30 marks should be pass mark. There is nothing called pass mark or fail mark. What is desired, what is not desired? If I say out of 6 outcome, if a student doesn't achieve 3 outcome, he will not allow to next subject. Suppose this is digital signal processing, next subject is statistical signal processing. So you have, as a teacher, I said, unless 3 outcome he has not achieved, he will be not allowed to complete the subject. So minimum requirement is the 3 outcome. So I can say 50% marks is my pass mark. When you design a question paper, okay, everybody should get 50%, so question paper must be very easy. There is nothing called easy and difficult question. Question is desired or not. If the question is related to the outcome or not. If it is not, then the question is invalid. Now, as a teacher, you find out outcome number 2 is not attained by the student number 1. So, as a teacher, what feedback you take? If I ask you, how many of you have seen that answer script after providing the marks? Anybody has seen answer script after providing the marks? After you provided the marks, have you seen your answer script again? Anybody? Response. Anybody have done it? That after providing the marks, you have you any by any chance have you seen the answer script again? No. Most of the cases it is not. But it is required. Why? I have to analyze which outcome student has not achieved. So if I found that outcome number 2, 80% of the students has not achieved, then as a teacher, what feedback I can say? I can say that my teaching learning process is not appropriate to develop that outcome, or the outcome which I define is not achievable. So that is called evaluate the effectiveness of instruction. So I have to evaluate it as a teacher. So that is reinforcement of teaching learning. Now, there is a scenario. So suppose that you have taken only last assessment for only this kind of evaluation. But you find 80% of the students fail. None of the outcome is achieved by the 80% of the students. Time has gone. You cannot get back those students again to learn it. So to avoid that scenario, there is a periodic assessment. That is called formative assessment. What is the purpose for periodic assessment? Give an example of periodic assessment. Anybody? Can you give an example of periodic assessment? I should not feel that I am talking to the computer. I should feel that I am talking to the participant also.
Sir, it may be like monthly test or something like that, which appears to us in case of periodic assessment.
So now, what I asked that what is the purpose for your class test? All of you take class test, no? Have you taken class test or not? I think so. So if I ask you, why you take the class test? Define why. Why I take the class test? Many times teachers say, oh, you got 7, you got 10. What's the purpose?
Understanding level of the students, sir.
Then that's the purpose. So if that's the purpose, then it should not be like that, oh, you got 10, you got 7, you got 5. So this class test should not be part of the evaluation. So periodic assessment, the purpose to find out the students' misconception and provide remedial lessons. So purpose of the class test or purpose of the quiz or purpose of the any periodic assessment to find out the students' misconception and provide the remedial lesson based on a misconception. That's why designing a question paper for class test is very difficult. You cannot say tomorrow you have a class test. Tomorrow you thought, okay, I have a class test tomorrow. Or this time I will design a question paper. Nobody will be able to answer. That is not the purpose. Purpose is this week what concept I have covered in the class. If this is the concept, I have designed it in such a way which will test the concept which I taught in the last week, and based on the answer, to be able to find out what group of students, what are the misconception is there. So assessment and evaluation is not that easy task. Assessment and evaluation. So assessment has two types. The assessment which will be used for evaluation, assessment which will be used for periodic in nature, which is required for teaching learning process. So all of you know the theory already covered, I think, in this FDP. The formative assessment is nothing but a call watering in the tree. So it is the period watering the tree, and the evaluation here as a formative assessment is the measurement of the growth of the tree. But you have to think it and you have to realize it in your scenario. Forget about the definition, forget about the theory. So the whole purpose of assessment is two purposes. One is provide the students competence marking. Another is find out their misconception and provide the remedial lessons. Now, every assessment has several questions. So I am not going to do this one. This one is visible. How can we reliably measure, grade, and certify the outcome or proficiency of the learner? Today, if I say, are the grade is reliable? Are you agree with that? If a students got X grade in the first semester, are you think that students will able to answer the questions in the fourth semesters? If it is not, then what is the reliability of the grade? So how can we reliably measure the grade? We take assessment. Oh, there will be a class test, there will be a mid-sem exam 30 marks, there will be a term exam 50 marks, there will be a class test 20 marks. If I ask you why, when I should take the mid-sem, what question I should make in mid-sem, how much, how, whether it will be 3-hour proctored exam, why not it will be 1-hour exam, why will be 3-hour exam, why it is 4-hour exam, all are the questions. People say there will be a mid-sem exam, 3-hour exam. I don't know. No, that is not the theory. So when assessment, proctored exam, whether it will be a proctored exam, whether it will be a assignment, whether it will be a project, whether it will be a 6-hour exam, so it depends on what I want to assess. Suppose in one of my course outcome is design a FIR filter by given specification using MATLAB. Can I test it using a proctored exam, time-bounded proctored exam? Definitely not. So I cannot say my end sem, mid sem, I have to test this outcome. Then I have to take the project, assignment. I have to provide an assignment. Student has to implement it in MATLAB and they have to show the result to me. So assessment, when, what, how much, how, all are very important. You can challenge that what should I meet an exam? Why it will be 30 marks? Why not 40 marks? In what basis you have designed it? Then what are the different function of assessment? Very important. All of we take the lab viva. If I ask you why you take the lab viva, anybody? What is the function of lab viva? Have you thought?
So basic purpose is only to check the concepts gained by the student.
The concept you have already checked during the lab, during the report.
But you may say the fundamentals or the foundation or the basic concepts gained by the child or student, whatever you say.
Interaction with the students. Now, 5-minute interaction with the students. Can you check the concept of the students?
At least you can have an idea. And my experience is, yes, suppose I evaluate 30 students in a practical lab, and when I discuss my outcome with the teacher who was teaching the class, and it approximately matches with the teacher. So that means, yes, we have the capability to evaluate the student in that 5 minutes. Yes, sometimes it may happen that student may not be regular in the class. Maybe some personal reasons or whatever is the reason. In that case, the teacher may not know about the student.
Now that you can test in periodic assessment also. They have prepared a lab report, they have done the lab. So why you take the viva in the end? So after every experiment you take the viva. So why you take
But
at
that can be done by the teacher only.
So function of the, so if I take only single viva, my purpose is not to take the students' concept. My purpose is to find out whether the students have written the report by himself or he copied it. That is my purpose. Because I will be evaluate the report only. 5 minutes is not sufficient to assess the students. So I will rely on the report. But then I have to check whether the report is done by the students or report is copied from each other. That can be done in 5 minutes. So every assessment must have a purpose. Class test. Main purpose of the class test is to find out the misconception and provide the remedial lessons. That is not that easy. That has to be done. Then how can we ensure their validity and reliability? What do you mean by valid questions? What do you mean by invalid questions? Anybody? This assessment is valid. Why? The test type which you have designed, if it is not linked with any one of your course outcome, that test item is invalid. Oh, this year I'll make a question paper, nobody able to answer. That is an invalid question. Oh, this year I have a questions which is very easy. Write a short note on this, define this, describe this. Invalid questions. So validity of the question is depends how it is linked with the outcome of your course. Then what is reliability? The basic definition of reliability. The basic definition of the reliability is that if a machine repeats its performance over the time, then said machine is reliable. Think about here also. Suppose you take a test or think about a students got 80% marks on electrical technology in the first year. If I take the same exam in the fourth year, can the students ensure elect 80% marks? If it is not, then the reliability is 0. So today, if students score 80% marks, that grade, EX grade, if I take the same exam after 2 months, if we get that EX grade, then I can say, yes, grade is reliable. But if you got 0, the grade is reliability is 0. So how do you improve the reliability of your test, of your question paper or test item?
Sir, in this
Think about
interpretation, all our exam system is failure. Nothing is reliable.
Yes, nothing is reliable. Why? As a teacher, you have to
Again,
answer
the
why
same
this is not
question from
reliable.
where we have started, because our system is based on the marks or the grades. So students are focused on that only. And they have the reason
That
for that,
only.
because whenever you apply for a job, they see your curriculum, they see your mark sheets, and they decide. Even they select the students on their curriculum. So what they have to do? They have to go for that only.
No, even today, if you see, most of the company not rely on your grade. Earlier, there is a company called cut-off mark 75%. Even in IIT also today, every company said, no, we are taking cut-off marks up to 60. So that means reliability of my marks is going down. So how do you improve reliability? Very easy. Suppose you learning bicycle, okay, and then 1 month you are not bicycling, any bicycle you are not bicycling. After 1 month, I give you a bicycle. Are you not able to bicycle again? Agree or not? So you learn how bicycling. Then you are not bicycling for 1 year. After 1 year, I give you a bicycle. Are you not able to bicycling or not?
Of course, I will be able to bicycle or drive or
Why?
whatever I have learned once.
Why?
Because it is the
If I say
ability I
why,
have gained.
that is skill. So
Yeah, it
if
is the
I
skill.
test the student skill, then that is reliable. If you give a questions, write a short note on this push pull amplifier, how this question will be reliable? Describe the Newton's second law of motion. Is it reliable questions? Not at all. So reliability will increase if your test item is based on the skill. Not that, okay, describe this, define this. Reliability is zero. So that is memorization. So there, why the students memorize it before the exam, come the exam hall, you write it and forget it. And whether he come a piece of paper and write it, both are same.
So do you want to say that open book exam is a better option?
Yes, skill. Test the skill. Suppose if I able to learn how to design a push-pull amplifier, I will never forget it. But if you only show me, oh, well, what is push-pull amplifier? Describe push-pull amplifier. Before the exam, I just memorized it, and after the exam, I forgot it. Most you cannot remember in your mind. Think about a poem which you can able to remember. Why? Because that poem you learn it by luck and by skill. But many questions you have to answer in who said it, why said this, everything you forgot. Because those are not skill, those are only memory. So that is the reality. What are the kinds of interpretation we can make? So suppose a student said 80% marks. What is the interpretation? As a teacher, that means 20% skill he does have. Think about an university system where they said out of there is many society has a system like this. Out of 8 questions, answer 85. And 8 questions are designed in such a way. 8 questions is come to 8 chapter. You have a syllabus, whole syllabus. What you require? This is my syllabus, and this is the 8 questions student has to answer from the syllabus. So students can only cover 5 chapters. He can get 100% marks. The reliability is gone down, validity is gone down, reliability gone zero. The 3 chapter is not important for students. Think about an analog electronics. Subject is analog electronics. So he knows semester there will be 8 questions. I have to only answer 5. So I will not read this chapter, this chapter, this chapter. So I will read this chapter, this chapter, this chapter. And a pass mark is 30. So okay, out of these 3 chapters, I have to get 30 marks. So what percentage of the syllabus he know? Roughly 21% of the syllabus. So if I know 21% of the analog electronics, and if I promote to the next class to take the VLSI design, am I able to successful? No, not at all. So what do you mean? So that is very important. How can we make a good assessment? Very important. What are the important statistical tools? So one or two topic I will cover. Maybe 30 minutes are there. Not all I cannot cover. So let's cover one or two topic. That is called test item analysis. All of you know that, I think so. Okay, I have only tables are there. Just a minute. Sorry. Okay. So I thought I'll do it in pen and paper. That's why I put the blank slide. So let's say I'm not pen and everybody has a pen and paper. No, everybody in front of you have a pen and paper. So like come the test item analysis. Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
so many times we said the question is very easy, and we said question is very difficult. Can we objectively measure the easiness of the questions? objectively, not subjectively. Question is easy to you, maybe difficult to me. So how do you
So it will
define the
depend upon the
easiness?
knowledge. If a
Depend upon
person,
knowledge, person, many things, many parameters are depend upon. So suppose I take, this is my class. So BTech Civil Engineer, Thermodynamics, this college. So I want to find out what kind of questions are very easy to the students and what kind of questions are very difficult to the students. So how do you do that? Objectively. So that is called test item analysis. The process is called test item analysis. So based on the previous year exam data, so that's why I say after the exam, teacher has a huge role. After the exam, you have to evaluate the answer script, you have to find out the students' misconception, you have to find out your feedback, that what kind of change you have to do in the next semester. So those are the tasks. Next task is that you have to individual questions you have to analyze and find out the easiness and difficulty index of the questions. So how do you do that? That is called facilitation value and discriminative index. Facilitation value and discriminative index. Facilitation value is called easiness of the questions and discriminative index is called the degree of difficulty of the questions. Now think about, you have 100 students in a class. If every student will able to answer the questions, then what is your questions? Facilitation value? 100% or 1? So it is most easy question, I can say.
yeah,
So facilitation value is 1 when all students is able to answer it. Facilitation value is 0 when none of the students will able to answer it. Can I say if the facilitation value is 0, then it is the most difficult questions?
yes,
Can I say that? No.
yes,
It
sir.
may be an invalid question. Invalid question means class 10, I give a maths of class 12. It is an invalid question. None of the students can answer it. So it is an invalid question. It is not difficult question. So facilitation value 1 is the easy, 0 is invalid. Facilitation value 0 means it is an invalid question. So now how do you calculate the facilitation value? Suppose 80% of the students give correct answer. Is the facilitation value is 8%? No. Because in a data analysis, if I take that marks distribution of the students, it will come in a Gaussian distribution. I cannot draw it. That is the problem. So it will come as a Gaussian distribution. X-axis is the marks, Y-axis is the number of students. So X-axis I check the 100, 90, 80. So 10 are the bin number and Y-axis is the number of students. If you plot it, it will come in Gaussian distribution. So if I told you what is the upper part of the Gaussian distribution, 30% in this left side and 30% in right side, because up or down is 1 by root 2. 1 by root 2 is nothing but a 0.7. So I can say 100 to 30% of the students marks is the lower side and 30% is the lower side is called the upper group. So let's say example. Suppose I take a test of 5 questions. Correct answer is C, question number 1. And based on the total marks, I have ranked the students 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 15. Now, if I say what is the upper group of students? 30% from the top. So out of 15 students, 30% is 4.5. So I can say 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the upper group. What is the lower group? 15, 14, 13, 12, and 11 is the lower group. Okay. So last 5 students is the lower group. First 5 students is the upper group. Is okay? So now, what is the facilitation value? So if the question is very easy, then all students of the upper group should give correct answer and all students in the lower group should give correct answer. Then the facilitation value is equal to 1. Oh, there is a cost talk. Okay, so in the upper group, so I can say generalize the formula. So formula generalizes the marks obtained by the upper group divided by the marks obtained by the lower group. So if all upper group students give the correct answer, so upper group student is 5, lower group student is also 5. So lower group, the 5 marks is the lower group, 5 marks in the upper group. So 5 plus 5 divided by total marks of the group. The total group is 5 plus 5, 10, and each question carry 1 marks. So into 1. So 10 by 10 is equal to 1. So what is the formula? Marks obtained by upper group plus marks obtained by the lower group divided by the total group marks. Is it okay? Can you calculate the conversion value of the question number 1? What is the value? Calculate it. So it will be 4 plus 1, 2, 3. So 4 plus 3 divided by 5 plus 5 into 1. So 7 by 10. The facilitation value of the question number 1 is 0.7. Is it clear?
सर काइंडली रिपीट वंस
हाँ
सर एक बार दोबारा बता दीजिए फॉर्मूला
So marks obtained by the upper group plus marks obtained by the lower group divided by the total group size into question marks. So let's question number 2. The upper group is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first 5 students. So all students give correct answer. What are the upper group marks? 5 into 1. What are the lower group marks? Only 1 students can give correct answer. So up to 11 is the lower group. So I can say 5 plus 1 divided by, what is the group size? 5 plus 5 into marks is 1. So 5 plus 5 into 1. So I can say 5 plus 1, 6 divided by 10 is equal to 0.6. Clear? This is called facilitation value. I will share you the slide, all the formula also if you require. Then I come to this kind of question. Let's say this kind of questions. Is it visible? Table is visible. So in these questions, instead of multiple choice questions, there will be a let's 10 marks questions. Out of 50, I have a 10 students in my class. I rank them and I find out they have a so 10 students. 30% means 3 students. So upper group is 1, 2, 3. Lower group is 10, 9, 8. So marks obtained by upper group 10 plus 9 plus 10 plus marks obtained by lower group 8 plus 8 plus 8 divided by what is the total group size 3 plus 3. What is the question marks? 10. So 10 plus 9 plus 10, 29 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8, 24. So 29 plus 24 divided by 3 plus 3. 3 plus 3, 6 into 10, 60. So 53 divided by the 60 is the facilitation value. Is it clear? Clear? Facilitation value is nothing but the marks obtained by the upper group plus marks obtained by the lower group divided by the total group into individual question marks. Now I want to find out the descriptive index. That means how good is this question to differentiate between the good students and bad students. How good is the questions to differentiate between the good students and bad students? How do you do that? Marks obtained. So what is my objective? None of the lower group students should get correct answer. So if by chance any lower group student give correct answer, so that is my mistake. So that is the degree of difficulty will be reduced. So that's why this formula is marks obtained by upper group minus marks obtained by the lower group divided by what is the group size? Here not two group, here only upper group. So upper group size into individual question marks. So what is the DI for this? Marks obtained by upper group 4, marks obtained by lower group 3. So 4 minus 3 divided by 5 into 1. So it is 1 by 5. Clear? Okay. One last thing I just communicate, then I will stop. Multiple choice questions. Can you say me why there will be a 4th choice only? Most of the cases we see multiple question and the 4th choice. Why? How do you design a multiple choice question? It is not that easy. Anybody? Why there is a 4th choice? Multiple choice question doesn't mean that it has only 4th choice. It may have a 6th choice or n number of choice depending on the misconception of the questions. So when you make a questions, you have to think what are the possible misconceptions. And every misconception is one of the wrong option. So if I design a question which has 3 misconceptions, then I can say it has only 4th choice. Question number A is the correct answer, B, C, D are the misconceptions. If a question has only 2 misconceptions, then my number of choice is 3. It is not all of them, none of them. What is the choice? Why do we do that? Unless all of the above is related to the possible misconception. So multiple choice question is not designed arbitrarily. It has to be designed with the effect of possible misconception. Clear? I'm not going details. That is called find out the discriminative index of the each possible choice. Suppose you design a multiple choice questions and there is a 6th choice and one choice D is nobody has chosen. That means what? The misconception is D doesn't exist in the class, or the misconception D, the choice D is not able to produce any misconception on the students. Okay, so I'll stop here. I not because it is already 1 o'clock. We may have a next class in that after 1 o'clock, and this forum is open for your question answer. You can ask. I just stop anything.
Yes, sir.
Participant.
Dear participants, kindly put your questions.
No questions. Is it that NBI is covered? Accreditation is covered?
Sir, in the morning, Professor R. Natarajan explained about ABET accreditation, NAC, and the NBA. But
NBA.
yeah, but the process will be explained in the afternoon session, sir. The outcome-based
Afternoon session.
education, evaluation,
Yes.
and PO and all. So that will be covered in the afternoon session by Professor G. Varaprasad.
Okay. So you can participant. You can. This is very important. That the purpose for accreditation, the whole purpose is to find out the quality of the program or measure the quality of the program objectively, not subjectively. Objectively measure the quality of the program. That is the purpose for accreditation. It is not that it is a document. Okay. Any questions from assessment and evaluation? Any feedback? Participant, is it new or it is already you known?
These topics were not covered, sir, so far.
Not
So
covered.
quite interesting topics, sir, you have taken.
Okay, so if you do not have any questions, then I will have to leave. Anybody has any questions?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, participants are asking your PPT, sir.
Okay, I'll share it to you. I'll share the link and you can share it.
Okay, sir.
Okay.